Are there any substitutions in veganism that help with muscle definition? I was always told for muscle building you need a good balance of white meat. I've got great news for you. That's bullshit. White meat doesn't do anything more for you than the contribution of protein that it provides. That's it. The reason people recommend white meat is because it's lean protein. That's it. If you have lean protein from another source, you're fine. There is literally nothing biologically about the content of white meat that aids in your muscle definition. Well, muscle definition is just how much muscle do you have and how little fat do you have. Chicken provides a lot of protein and not a lot of calories, so, you know. Have faith. Have faith. What anti-veganism does to a person's brain? Oh, God, yeah, the Fetterman clip. I can't watch Bill Maher on stream because it's content ID, but yeah, this shit was fucking retarded, man. If you are, to me, if you're anti-cultured meat, you're actually subhuman. You have engaged in a degree of moral dumbfounding that I think is unjustifiable within, like, the range of acceptable human beliefs, you know? Even Bill Maher thought he was retarded for that, and that's a low fucking bar. Can we call all Drake fans spiritually MAGA? I saw that fuck-ass tweet from, like, 2021 pop up on my feed again because somebody retweeted it. The, Drake being like, and which is your favorite crayon? And Millie Bobby Brown being like, I like the watermelon color. And he's like, damn, that's a color these days? It's hard for a guy like me to keep up, or something like that. It's fucking funny. So funny. Drake the type of guy to say, uh-oh, we got company when the bad guys pull up. Cheese it, guys! It's the fuzz! Wah. Do you think Americans are stupider than other similarly developed Western nations? Yeah, I think that's like on paper, you know? I think that's demonstrated. If so, why? Like, legitimately, just read up on any testimonials from any teachers in the United States. Our education system is bad structurally, and a bunch of additional factors like, say, COVID. I mean, the pressure on the industry is just overwhelming, and as a consequence, everything we heard about with regard to it being bad, it's gotten so much worse. So bad. U.S. margin debt surged plus 83 billion in April to a record 1.3 trillion high. Wait, this is actually insane. $1.3 trillion in margin debt? Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. Holy shit. Looking good. Yeah, looking great. What's margin debt? It's when you borrow against your existing assets to secure securities. Like a loan or whatever. So you're using your investments as collateral. You're doing the thing that ruins the economy, where rather than spending money, you're borrowing money by leveraging your existing assets and therefore incurring debt to make additional investments. This is like the thing. This is the like you falling down the stairs homestuck.wav. I fucking told you about markets capital bit. You know, it's like the thing that money does if you leave it alone for too long. If you leave capital on its own for too long, this is what happens. It's not good. I'm a smart guy. What if we had a divisible unit of currency that we could use to facilitate transactions? Okay. All right. Now, what if we could invent something abstract like debt in order to facilitate the transfer of capital to startup investments? That way you wouldn't need to necessarily secure the capital to begin with. You could, you know, build up on the investment and faith of other people. Okay, and then 100 years pass and you lose track of time, and then you look back and people aren't even spending money anymore. They're just leveraging debt to borrow more money, to incur further debt, to use the debt as like a tax write-off year over year, but then they're investing the money they borrowed to get more money and use the investment returns to pay off the initial debt, but they're incurring more overall debt. It happened to Japan in the 90s. Ask them how they're doing. There's a reason why if a Japanese salaryman accidentally overdrafts his debit card, he commits seppuku right there in the line of the, convenience mart. They're afraid of debt, as they should be. Debt-based economies are actually older than mercantilism or capitalism. That's true, but margin loans are relatively, well, Well, I guess it depends on your definition. The system that allows for stuff like this to happen is relatively new. Germans are also very afraid of debt. They say they are. Have you seen what they've been up to lately? You can blame the Dutch for the entire system. I blame the Dutch for everything. When the 2008 crash happened, apparently Iceland locked up a bunch of bankers for them causing it, etc. If only we were a real country. Yeah, Methaldo, I think that credit cards are like almost entirely American. Like basically no one has a credit card in Europe. It's just an American thing, which is crazy because it's like a fundamental... Methaldo, you're German, right? Like they in America, literally everybody has a credit card. It's good to have a credit card. Like it's bad to not have a credit card. You want one because there's a bunch of incentives for using it, like building up your credit score, and also they give you like 2% back, which can add up. We have them in Japan. I doubt they're used as much. We have the biggest debt economy in the world, like easily, you know? No one else even comes close. No one here cares about the credit scores. Oh, God. Civilization. Apparently, Japan has a higher percentage of credit card ownership than the US. Really? That's insane to me. It must not get used very much? Like as a percentage of total debt? Because in America, hold on. Countries ranked by average credit card debt. United States is highest. Balance 6,730. You got me. So the Japanese are just more responsible? No, it's not really a personal responsibility thing. It's structural. Canada score is insane. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that's wrong with America is also wrong with Canada. They're very similar countries, which is why it's so funny that Canada's whole identity is being better than America.
Two social media streamers accused of firing a gun in the Everglades during a live stream. They have now pleaded no contest to the charges. Andrew Morales, known online as Cuban Tarzan, and Braden Peters, who goes by Clavicular, they were each charged with unlawful discharge of a firearm in a public place. This case stems from a March live stream that appeared to show a dead alligator being shot in the Everglades. As part of their sentence, both men received 6 months probation, 20 hours of community service that cannot be streamed or...
Actual Chad judge. He's actually the most handsome judge I've ever seen in my life. Do you think they picked him on purpose? They were like, we really don't want Clavicular to farm content off of this by saying that he was unfairly prosecuted by an incel judge with like a sub-abdominal catheteral tilt or whatever, with like a, you know, a phenotypically insufficient jawline development or whatever. So they busted this guy out. Hey, seriously, he's a judge? What is he, like fucking 35? I guess it's Florida. I had friends who did Birthright in high school, very creepy. They said they specifically hire hot 20-somethings and encourage them to develop relations with the Americans to get them to migrate. Yeah. It's been known. The IDF and the Israeli government specifically use beautiful women as part of their like IDF and birthright recruitment processes because they're trying to like up birth rates and sort of groom you into going to Israel. They do very similar stuff to what white nationalists did in Rhodesia. Rhodesian propaganda back during the 1960s, 70s, and post-fall of Rhodesia propaganda after the fact really emphasizes how, like, if you go to Rhodesia, there will be a beautiful, skinny white woman waiting there for you to defend the brush with. Like, if you go to Rhodesia, there's, like, this abundance of beautiful white women to defend the, you know, your claim alongside or whatever. Wasn't true, but you know, they say it. It's like when I'm spelling out bourgeoisie or bureaucracy or whatever, you know, I got a bureaucracy. You get me. You understand. Your stream title has it. Yeah, but I'm not going to go copy and paste my own stream title, you know? That's just lazy. The more you correctly spell something, the easier it gets to do in the future, you know? That's why autocorrect rots people's brains. Autocorrect is a psyop. It's a psyop to make you stupid. Don't fall for it. Turn it off in your phones. Misspell everything. Anyone else? I know it's a popular topic for discussion, but anyone else feel like autocorrect on the phone's been absolute fucking dog shit lately? Feel like it's gotten a lot worse. Never used it? Never used autocorrect? It's on by default. Voice to text too? Yeah, unless you're like driving or in a hurry or something. I feel like... Not gonna lie, that's a self-report. Autocorrect is trained off your own inputs. Oh, I'm 100% self-reporting. I've got big dumb thumbs, you know? I'm not good at typing on my phone or on a keyboard or at all or at anything. I'm not good at anything. Keep that in mind when you take my take seriously. Are you not a communism? Yeah, well, like all communists, I've yet to figure out the process by which we actually achieve this this system. Listen, okay, there are two types of communists, all right? There are honest ones who admit they don't know what they're doing and dishonest ones who pretend that they do, all right? I'm happy to count myself among the honest ones. How do we get to communism? I have no idea. No one's figured it out yet. We can't even figure out how to get to liberalism, man. We don't even know how to get to that. We thought we figured it out 250 years ago. A bunch of hoity-toity post, the Enlightenment aristocrats who each owned like 500 slaves thought they figured out the secret sauce to enacting liberalism, and it turns out no, they just reinvented aristocracy. They just built a slow cooker for neo-feudalism. So I don't know. Maybe we don't know how to do anything. Maybe nobody knows anything. I think liberal democracy is closer to communism than dictatorship. I agree. Let me know when you find out how to do a liberal democracy, because I haven't figured it out yet. How the fuck do we get there? Liberal democracy? Oh my God, what are you, some kind of utopian? Jesus Christ. Cure cancer while you're at it. Liberal democracy. Who's ever even heard of such a thing? Liberal democracy. I would love to live in a liberal democracy. Pie in the sky ass system. Yeah, get your head out of the clouds. Liberal democracy, the best we can do is eating shit, dying, pedophilia in the Oval Office, all the modernity in the world. This is the closest we can get, okay? Live with it. No one knows what the fuck is going on. Isn't that what anarchists have been bitching about for years? That no one has their hands on the wheel and it's up to us? That's a very romantic way of putting it. It's up to us. What, it's up to us to complain? Yeah, maybe. We're the best at it. Thoughts on the idea that Trump's given up over winning the public and doesn't care what happens to MAGA/GOP after his min? Well, Trump has never cared what happens to the GOP at any point. Like, Trump has never... It's not so much that Trump doesn't think he can win over people anymore. It's that he thinks that his presidential viability is getting sabotaged by the Republican Party. He literally said this in 2025 during the special elections. He was like, well, if they do badly, it's because I wasn't on the ballot. It's their fault. He doesn't care. It's like he's a malignant sociopathic narcissist. It's not, in addition to him being like senile, it's like a soup up there, right? He doesn't give a fuck what happens to the party. It's just embarrassing the party hasn't developed a contingency plan for what happens after Trump. I've heard there are rumors coming out of the White House that J.D. Vance and Rubio are considering invoking the 25th. No. Don't believe any of the rumors that you hear. They're hardline. Anyone who invoked the 25th against Trump would be fucked in their future presidentials. They have no plan. There is no plan. The people in charge, the steering wheel is broken off the steering column. There's no plan here. They have not developed any alternative to Trump. And what people need to realize, and this is why I've been so pessimistic about the future prospects of the Democratic Party, is that the shape of this country is very much like that of a funnel, you know? It doesn't matter what you do or how you position things. The funnel has one job, and it's to move liquid from, a wide range of positions up top to a very narrow range of positions down bottom. There isn't really any set of policies that you could implement that would change this fundamental reality. You know, it could be Trump, it could be anyone else. It doesn't matter. The system will continue as it is right now until it collapses. The wheels will continue to grind. The ball bearings will, shift and buckle until it all breaks. Trump is just a catalyst for this process. He is uniquely stupid and egotistical and thoughtless. Another person maybe could hold it off for a bit, but only for a bit. It's not going to change the direction the water's moving in. Why do you think it'll collapse? 6'7", nice name, by the way. You're here for every stream. I see you frequently. I notice you have a white name. How interesting. You get a lot of free content? You watch, split cable from your neighbor's devices? You watched me long enough to know my answer to that. Nice prompt, though. Thank you. The bait worked. I thought I responded well. Get a job. But no, Trump doesn't care what happens to the future of the party. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't believe there's a future after him. Maybe. I think that to an extent, can I get like really 20th century like literature pilled for a second? Can I get a little bit esoteric with it? I think that to a large extent we are where we are because neoliberalism has done away with the concept of honor. Neoliberalism and neoconservatism are fundamentally duplicitous ideologies. The goal is to distract the public with inane culture war nonsense so that you can get away with transferring power from the body politic to the body corporate. And they have been enormously successful in doing this. But it's an innately insincere effort, which breeds in its, in its advocates insincerity. And insincere people are dishonorable, certainly in politics, if not anywhere else. I think that, like, even dishonest politicians 100, 200 years ago, they might have been more concerned with things like legacy or reputation than those today. I think a good way of understanding this is that Nixon was a massive piece of shit and an incredibly dishonest man, but he was much, much more concerned with protecting his legacy and his reputation than Trump seems to be today. In spite of how openly duplicitous and dishonest he was, he still had like a I don't know, on some instinctual level, or he had an emotional bias towards the idea of protecting his image as an honorable man, even in the face of all contrary evidence. And I think that over time, our leadership has just gotten more shameless. You understand what I'm talking about? Shamelessness. They're not afraid of being seen as duplicitous freaks anymore. I think this is unique. I think that if you go back some time, 100 whatever years ago, I think that from earlier politicians to the aristocracy, they were much more concerned with maintaining an image of reputability and class and distinction, even if they were openly evil people, you know? I mean, you can see this to an extent, I think, in like the Southern gentile, the aristocracy of the South, pre and post Confederacy. These are very evil men, very bad people, but they were interested in maintaining the artifice of civility, of grace, in spite of, you know, being who they were. Thank you for speaking on how fake economics truly is. Hey, listen, economics is real. It's just the people who pretend to understand economics for the purposes of TV are agents of capital. I disagree with the common, let's say, socialist cope that you don't need to understand how the economy works because it's all fake anyway. I disagree with that. I think you need to. Basically, nobody talks about monetary policy, which is not good for us. A lot of people, even people on the left, don't seem to understand what the wall we're about to run into is. They don't understand how it works, and they really ought to. It's not that economics is fake. It's that the people who claim to be the, you know, advocates for understanding those systems are usually rubes or deliberately dishonest. And they are put there to distract us from financialization. Why are there no new games or IPs? Well, there are if you know where to look, but the answer also comes down to financialization in a lot of cases. Entrenched corporate structures are risk-averse. Investors only want to invest if you can guarantee regular returns, which means that you always need to have a winning formula, which means that you need to pitch ideas that they know will work, which means that you tend to get a lot of repeats and remakes. Over time, this does lead to a decrease in quality overall because an emphasis on remaking stuff you already know works comes to the detriment of quality and creativity. That being said, fair commentary where it's deserved. Capcom has done an excellent job. Capcom, not Capcom, has done an excellent job with these Resident Evil remakes and new games. Like, legitimately, it feels like the bar for quality in this series has only been going up over time, which is astonishing because they've been good for a long time. Exception that proves the rule, maybe? They have been crushing it. Nintendo is a mixed bag. I'm not a huge fan of Super Mario Odyssey. Tears of the Kingdom was probably in aggregate better than Breath of the Wild as a single experience, but playing it after having played Breath of the Wild, whew, bit of a retread. No? No? Joseph Anderson fan detected. Nice take. Did Joseph Anderson get to you? I think that I would feel better about Super Mario Odyssey if it wasn't for the fact that I consider these games to be platforming challenges more so than I do collectathons. When I'm playing Banjo-Kazooie or whatever, I don't mind some of the collectibles being easy to access because I think there's a greater joy in the experience of running around a map and, you know, hoovering up everything. But sometimes it felt like Odyssey's identity wavered between it being a platforming game and a collectathon game, which oftentimes they work together, but sometimes they don't. You know? It's frustrating that on the same map you can have a moon, which you get through completing a difficult platforming challenge, and then another moon which you get by, like, ground-pounding 3 spots that are shining, you know? Those are just fundamentally different experiences that work well on their own, but in tandem, they make the gameplay sections feel trite and unnecessary, and the raw collectathon segments feel, I don't know, like cheap gimmies? I would glup shitto like crazy if they made a Galaxy 3. Not how that's used, but I get you. Yeah, the Galaxy games are genuine masterpieces, in my opinion, because they are pure platforming challenges, right? Like, every star, it's still a star, right? Every star that you get in Galaxy is the culmination of a platforming challenge, so all of them feel like they're equally worth your time. I feel like Galaxy would have only been worse if they made the game 50% longer, because, like, every area also has an extra bonus star you can get, not by doing platforming, but by, like, noticing that one colored block is slightly different than the other colored block, and then you ground pound it, and then it's like, oh, you've doubled the stars you get from this course because you notice the different colored block, you know? It's like, That being said, it's not like Odyssey is a bad game. That would be a ridiculous take. I just think that it undercut itself in a lot of important ways. Silk Song was just too good, though. Silk Song is Silk Song is a stellar game. I got filtered by Silk Song. Give it another try. Have faith in yourself. One shot. You know, is this a brave opinion? Am I being brave? I like the fact that zombies have functionally a random amount of health. I would dislike it in many types of shooters, but in this... In this one specifically. Okay, bucko. It does keep you on your toes, yeah. I liked it in RE4 as well. I'll take it over a health bar. Did you guys see the fucking, Assassin's Creed Black Flag resync where the clip of the guy going after the boar for hunting and a fucking health bar popped up over the boar? God, that shit was pure ass. Legendary fucking consciousness traveling pirate boss boar. Stupid. Need to stop this chainsaw man. Dude, I'm still sad about how the manga ended, man. I'm still really sad. What a drop-off of an ending. I really hope that when it inevitably gets adapted into an anime, I hope they fix it. Like they fixed the ending for fucking, I don't know, Attack on Titan. I really hope they do. I know Fujimoto is talented. I know he's feeling burnt out. I get it. It's just, I cared about those characters, you know? I hope they... What? Where? Is it bad, or meh bad? This is not a universally held opinion, but it really felt like a strong arc that started stumbling midway through, and it started stumbling harder and harder and faster, and then the mangaka went, I'm done. And then just, like, stopped. I'm tired, man. Fuck you, I quit ending. What happened at the end? How many people are watching? How many viewers am I gonna burn off by rambling? 3,000 people are watching. That's pretty good, actually. Okay, the gist of it basically is... the gist of it basically is that Chainsaw Man and the War Devil are in a fight to end the world, basically. They're both extremely strong, and they are fighting with weapons and with stakes that are very rapidly tearing the planet apart. And it feels like this is going to build to some kind of massive reconciliation in a way that resolves the conflict both between Pochita and Denji, Denji and the War Devil and Asa and Denji. You have a bunch of, like, interpersonal dynamics that are all building to a head because it's very, very clear that Denji's way of resolving his conflicts is not working. Like, the repeated feeling you're getting while watching this unfold is that Denji's fucking everything up over and over again, and it's not getting better, and he's not going to make it better. You're not really rooting for him to fix everything so much as you are for him to get his head out of his ass and realize that he is fucking everything up. And at the end, rather than resolve those interpersonal dynamics and let them play out and let people either make realizations that improve them or fall on the sword of their own personal character failings, instead, Pochita basically says, Denji, because you are incapable of solving this, I am now rewriting the universe so you no longer have the chance to fuck it up further. And he does a bit of a magic power ass pull using his ability to erase devils in a way that it hasn't been used before, and then the timeline is reset. And you're left with a bunch of ambiguous questions, like, how much of this does anyone remember? How much of this How much of the original timeline is preserved in the new timeline? What do people remember and what don't they remember? What details are still relevant? What character dynamics are still relevant? Is Denji a different person? I mean, he must be, because he doesn't remember having met There's a whole bunch of, like, questions that aren't resolved in a satisfying way, and it just ends and that's that. And it's not technically a reset, but narratively it might as well be one. I was not happy with this. In fact, it was so bad that a tiny little, you know, copium-fueled part of me was hoping that this was the setup for some kind of second reconciliation, a false ending where it was revealed that Denji was given the opportunity to challenge Pochita for the right to find his own ending. Like, basically, Pochita, your desperate attempt to take my hands off the wheel has failed. I'm back in charge, and I'm going to prove to you and to myself and to everyone that I can make the right choice. But it didn't happen. I'm gonna stop rambling about it now. It didn't happen. I have a lot of thoughts on the ending.
This thing still works.
So I hope they develop it out further in the anime adaptation. It was basically, it was all a dream, the ending. It wasn't exactly that, but it has a lot of narrative similarities to the it was all a dream ending. It was not an all a dream, but it was unsatisfying in the way the it was all a dream ending often is. Also, fuck, I'll be partial. Asa really deserved better, man. She was more interesting to me than Part 2 Denji. Yeah, rumor has it, and I'm not sure how true this is, that Fujimoto got, like, bullied into making Denji the main character of Part 2 again. The editors wanted him because Denji was more marketable than Asa, which I think is really fucked up, by the way. Asa was a great character and served as the protagonist of Part 2 way better than Denji did. Like, things started going downhill when Denji was reintroduced as the main character in Part 2. Asa was a really, really, really good character. Yeah, but Japan is mega sexist, so they couldn't accept a woman as the MC. I don't want to say that was the main reason, but that was definitely part of it. Like, the fact that there was backlash in Japan during Maki's episode in JJK Season 3 where she massacres the Zenin clan. The fact that people didn't like her being willful. That is fucked up, man. Asa was such a good character, and such a good female character specifically, too. Such a rare bit of representation. You just don't get that in media that often, you know? People dislike that episode. The episode was less well received in Japan than it was in the West. I believe for reasons at least informed by sexism, but I don't want to, like... It probably wasn't just that. Man, I fucking miss Asa. I don't know. Asa deserves some damn romance. God... It's just, it's unfortunate, considering what a good main character she was when she was the main character of Part 2, Denji had so many opportunities to respond to and engage with, women who were interested in him for a variety of reasons, largely for their own interests, sometimes romantic. I think Reese liked him in the end. But, like, Asa, we never really got to see her engage with what it meant to like Denji and be liked by Denji. And I don't think Denji's a bad person. I mean, he's incredibly stupid and self-destructive, but I don't think he's malicious. I genuinely think that there's a version of the relationship between Asa and Denji that would have worked out. Like, they could have been mutually healthy. You know, it could have been good for both of them. And I'm not saying it needed to be good for both of them, because I'm not saying that it needs a good ending, like a happy ending. I just think that the narrative should have explored the possibility that both of them might have been able to work things out. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. Could you read it as a tragedy? No, because in order for it to work as a tragedy, the narrative would have needed to address it in that context. But the end of the final chapter is Denji having a little meet-cute with Asa, which does the opposite. It implies that in spite of not having explored the possibilities of their relationship, they still might potentially have a good ending. That's almost worse, because now you're saying, like, no, I am interested in exploring their viability in a relationship, but I'm not actually, like, gonna explore it. I'm interested in the potential, but not in engaging with it, which is the point of the damn... That's the point of art! It's signal without depth. Also, Kashibe just leaving her with Denji, going for a pack of cigarettes and never coming back was also weird. There were a lot of dropped plot lines. There was a lot of stuff in Chainsaw Man Part 2 that just felt unresolved in an unsatisfying way. Not in like a, oh, Game of Thrones, anyone can die, life is random kind of way, but in a, like, narratively things just fell off kind of way. Kashibe not showing up again would have made sense if Asa had remained the prospective character because she never met him, but it doesn't make sense with Denji being the main character. I feel like it's something that would have gone addressed at some point. Whatever. Is that an M-dash? Dude, AI is so fucking unfair to M-dash enjoyers like myself. I tend to write the way that I speak, and I pause often when I speak. Like this. So I M-dash quite a bit. Now I fucking can't, because everyone sees the M-dash, and they're like, oh, it's ChatGPT. As if I've ever used AI in any context. I've never opened it. I don't know how to open it. I don't know what it is. I've never even heard of it my entire life. But now I can't use the goddamn M-dash.